And finally, it's time for Blind Man's Bluff. And this is a special one today because this is one of my favorite movies of all time. I call this a perfect movie, and it was randomly generated on setgetter.com.
All right. I should know
Uh,
what it is just by that, but I
you should-
we'll see. So,
okay, and this is, of course, on setgetter.com on the set. And the description Robert wrote is today marks the anniversary of one of the greatest action films of all time, blank. I vividly remember leaving the theater as an 11-year-old exclaiming it was the best movie ever.
well, that
See?
would be Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, there it is. Do you still think it's one of the best movies?
I just knew it was 11 when I was 11. Or I was
I
like, what
was
was the best movie in 1981? Yeah, so
11. From the
and
opening scene to the end, it's just a ride.
I do remember it going in knowing nothing really, because 11, I kind of knew who Steven Spielberg was, but not really, and I even
I can't
kind of
believe
knew
you saw
Harrison
this
Ford.
in the
Yeah.
theater.
Oh, yeah, opening weekend, and I just remember,
Amazing.
yeah, it was like one of three movies that we saw that day, because it was kind of the time
What?
where your parents would drop you off, and I think we saw,
Oh,
we,
yeah.
we saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Great Muppet Caper, and Arthur.
Oh, no. Wow. That's quite a different take on all of quite the ride.
And if I remember coming home and talking about how great this
Arthur.
movie was, and I think that's kind of the weird thing. It's probably because after a year, whatever people, this movie already has a reputation, or you've heard about it, you growing up, or and but it's different when
Yeah.
there was nothing, nobody knew anything about that, like you just went to the theater and experienced it.
Yeah, you went to the theater. Um, you didn't have much aside from a trailer to really
Yeah,
understand what you're getting into unless you knew the source material. It's fantastic. Um, and Raiders of the Lost Ark, I feel like one of those movies that makes it good for me was they used the visual effects are real, no CGI. So those explosions were 11 camera setups. That has the romance in there. It has some pretty scary scenes,
yeah,
especially for a kid. I mean, I was scared.
PG.
And PG, right? And the locations are awesome. I mean, all over the world it takes place in,
Yeah.
and
And
it's
obviously, I
just
did not go at all of the locations. I just happened to be a few, and
no,
some
I
people have
know,
gone to the more exotic locations for sure, and have done great matchups. But
no, but yeah, no, I know these are Hawaii, but this is great, and I'm very curious of if these places you can still visit. So I'll shut up. We'll just go through them. Paramount logo. This is the iconic shot. This is near Hokulele Road in Kauai.
yeah, so we just pulled off. I kind of knew where it was and pulled off to the road, and there's houses on both sides. So and if you go to the next picture, you can kind of see the road that we were on. So
Oh yeah,
so somewhere within there, they had shot. I didn't know the exact spot, but
I like your Jurassic Park hat.
well, yeah, I said protect my head.
Yeah, of course. That is a great hat. What? And this is like 2015. You went?
2018.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, that's a great shot. Of course, Indiana swinging into the river. I hate snakes, Shock. I hate them.
So this is the river, and this is where they shot that scene. You kind of see they had ropes. If you, depending now, you can see the water is awful muddy. So they had a lot of rain, and so when it's that moved up, they don't let people in the water for safety purposes. So you can
But you could
pretend to go.
otherwise.
Otherwise, yeah, they do let people kind of swing into the river. But
I wouldn't do it.
yeah, so.
I'd be afraid. Not that there's any like anacondas in Hawaii, but I just don't know. I don't
Yeah,
like water I can't see.
yeah. So it actually kind of worked because the water matches the
Oh
film
yeah.
right now. So, but
Would you swing in there if it was a clear?
yeah, I was prepared. We
Oh
were
wow.
wearing, yeah. So this particular area can only be accessed through a tour on these what do you call it, RVs or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right. Like
um
the off road
yeah.
because
So this is all private land, and so they kind of you get on, they kind of take you around to different spots and so forth. But
which I kind of like too. I remember
yeah.
we did that with the Jurassic Park, is you don't really want tourists who've never been there driving all over. Because as you know, Kauai, there's a lot of like military off restricted.
Yep. Yep.
We really don't need people running all over the island, like screwing up history and
Yeah.
maybe getting shot. So yeah, but that's cool that you went there.
Yeah.
Next shot is, oh, okay.
Dr.
Dr.
Jones's
Jones's
house. You
house.
call him Dr. Jones.
Call him Dr.
So
Jones.
this is outside of San Francisco. So
Is
I
that where it
couldn't,
is?
all this, yeah, between the kind of foliage and the time of day, I couldn't get a good shot. But there's Dr. Jones's house.
I've always loved this house too. Like the movies, it's like reminded you of like your grandparents' house or something. It just
Yeah.
had that feel. And this
And
is
the
where
thing
it's
is,
like,
like, if you go to that street, it's like this tiny street that's like, I don't know how they've decided here. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of
yeah,
a weird spot and so forth. And there's nothing to say, oh, this is exactly what it looked like back then. But
right.
yeah,
Well, it
so
wasn't like Kathleen Kennedy's house or something. It was just,
maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe
or maybe it was Robert Patterson's house
I
now.
don't know. Maybe it was Spielberg's childhood house, and I didn't know
Maybe,
at the time.
and I didn't know.
Yeah,
But great find on this one too.
yeah. But
Um, this is the creme de la creme of the page, in my
uh,
opinion.
yes, the
This is
plane. Yeah,
this is the Oakland Aviation Museum. This is the plane.
yeah.
I'll just let you talk about this, but I do need to scroll over to show.
The
Okay.
entrance and then it kind of goes up this little and it's a tiny I mean it's hard to get good shots because it is tiny and it looks exactly like it
Right.
does. And so yeah, so this is at the Aviation Museum in Oakland and I went there and I realized I was like I guess I didn't know but it's only open on certain days the plane itself. Um,
Oh.
and I was like, I'm like, oh, I'm only here for today. And so, and I said, is there any way? And I think they said, well, for a donation, I was like, yeah, I'd be happy. So,
Oh
and
yeah.
he was
So you
nice
got
enough,
in.
and yeah, and but they let other people too that were happened to be at the museum as well. So,
Oh,
so you
nice.
might, if you are traveling, just double check and see if they're able to do that. But yeah, so they kind of let you in the plane, and I think if you go to the next set of pictures below that,
Real quick though,
yep,
in this shot, it
yep,
just the fact that it was 40 some years later or whatever, and it still looks the same, and you were able to get that shot is pretty incredible.
yeah, it
Uh,
does.
and this right here, scroll. Oh, I mean, this is the actual plane.
Yeah.
You can see how it's relatively untouched and pretty good shape from what
Yeah,
I
they said
see.
yeah they'd moved some seats or either added I can't remember or to kind of fill it out or whatever and
Oh
then they
yeah.
do yeah they let you pass a certain point but they do let you they had the magazine back there that the Life magazine
Oh, it's so great.
of Escarops and then the seat that he was in and
Was this the actual row?
yeah so this is the actual seat they let you take a picture and I think my next picture might be me in the
Oh, I
seat
love
yeah
that.
so
And
they must have
those
the hat there too. Yeah.
they
So
put the covers for the headrest smart. Um,
yeah,
but this is the actual seat, like
yeah.
from the original.
Yeah,
It's
and that's what they
amazing.
said. That's what they said.
No, I
So
believe it. I
yeah.
mean,
So yeah. So
it makes sense. But the fact, by the way, I love this Xanadu shirt.
oh, of
Um,
course.
you being in the seat and getting these shots is special.
Yeah.
Was it exciting to be there?
Yeah. It was exciting because this is it's a huge movie for 11-year-old and obviously for everybody, and to know that this plane is still here and they're letting it's unusual, to
It's
be able to
incredible.
to have that. Yeah.
I
So
still love that martinis are served on like the charter as soon as you get in there, like the glass. Here you go.
it's just like Southwest.
Just absolutely. This is a great page though. And the final scene, where they're being investigated by top men. Uh, San Francisco City Hall, a modern work of architectural art,
Yeah.
and here it is.
And they're Blocky Mart, they're having a party that night, so they're setting up. But
Oh yeah,
they let me pop in there to take a few shots, but
so
otherwise,
great.
but yeah,
What
and I
kind
think
of
this
men,
was an
Robert?
added scene. It was
Oh,
a fundraiser event, I think, that they were doing. So, but this is San
okay,
Francisco City Hall, which they shot quite a bit, and
yeah.
I think did we do my milk locations? I think, but yeah, so
Oh yeah,
I had,
milk.
yeah, so they shot quite a few different things there. But a foul play. One of my
Yes.
favorites was shot there.
Did you ever
Um,
get the 4K foul play?
no, it's on I think it's being released this month, so I was going to buy it.
Okay.
But
Don't buy it. Just
oh,
that's all I'm
don't
gonna
buy it.
say. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I will
Do
not buy it. I'm
not.
sorry. I think it's supposed to be released in April, so
Yes.
I should
Yes.
double check. So,
Yes.
but yeah, and I think this
Sorry.
was kind of an added scene. I think they realized they needed a better coda or something like that. So I think this wasn't in the original script, if I remember right, that of them walking down the steps. But it's a good end to the scene, into the movie for sure.
And the final shot of the ark in the warehouse, was that part
Yes.
of the original script?
I believe that was, and I think,
Because that's a haunting scene where you're like, oh,
yeah,
we just store it and we have
I
millions of
didn't
them.
quite, as a kid, I didn't quite get it.
No, me neither.
Because I was like,
You're
oh,
like,
it's
why
with
would
all
they
these
do
other,
that?
yeah.
We're the government.
And
We would
then,
never just do
and
that.
as an adult, you're like, well, of course, it's tucked away with all these other, who knows what else.
Right.
And then, of course, we revisit that decades later.
Right.
And you're like, oh, warehouse wasn't that big, and it was Area 51. But
Yeah, right. The crystal skull. That
yeah,
that was a dis and you could see the ark just hanging out, and you're like, well, what
yeah,
about the ark?
they didn't even pack it right. Yes,
I know. That was
flimsy box. Yeah,
disappointing when because the original Raiders of the Lost Ark, I think it's just like a matte painting, but
yeah, it's mostly
it's
Matt. Yeah.
it gives a huge, thing. And then when you saw a huge semblance, and then when Crystal Skull came out, you're like, you're kind of messing up the dream, man. That's
I
how I
always
felt.
think, like, I was like, I wonder who that actor is, and I wonder if he realized that, when you're filming that, so, like,
Right.
it's like, oh, I'm gonna be in one of the biggest movies ever.
Yeah, just pushing the trolley.
Yeah,
It is pretty incredible.